Is that deep enough right there?
Hi, guys. Good evening and welcome to our virtual cigar lounge. I'm Michael Dougherty with JC Newman Cigar Company and Arturo Fuente Cigars. And why don't we introduce ourselves? Mark, let's start with you. Can you tell us where you're at tonight, how long you've been with the
Absolutely.
company, and tell us about your territory?
I'm in beautiful Michigan. Hey, Amir, how you doing? I've got a studio audience as well.
Nice.
June, I've been with the company for 19 years. I cover
Fantastic.
Michigan, Indiana, part of Ohio, and wake up every morning loving what I do.
Oh, that's awesome. David, what about yourself? Where are you tonight? Tell us a little bit about how long you've been with the company and your territory.
I am in beautiful Tampa Bay, Florida, and I cover the Rocky Mountains from the Canadian border all the way to the Mexican border. And I've been with the company 14 years plus.
That's great. So I know all of us have got a little drink and a cigar. Mark, what are you drinking and smoking tonight?
Well, for all those people out there that work for Templeton Rye, I love Templeton Rye, and I wouldn't hate if a case showed up at my doorstep. So I'm drinking some Templeton Rye and one of my favorite cigars of all time, Diamond Crown Maximus.
Very nice. David?
Well, I'm smoking a Diamond Crown Classic Natural, and I'm pairing that up with a little Knob Creek. Cheers to everybody.
Very nice.
Cheers.
Cheers. I'm drinking a Highland Park, which is one of my all-time favorite scotches. In fact, I got a bottle here that somebody gave me just recently that I'm enjoying. And for tonight's cigar, I thought I would kind of go back in time and bring out something kind of special. I don't know if you guys will be able to see this or not, but this is actually a Diamond Crown Perfecto that was released only once in 2005 for the 110th anniversary of JC Newman Cigar Company. It was really an amazing humidor that had, I believe it was 10 each of this shape in 4 different wrappers, which was amazing. But this is the last one, and I figured this is a great occasion. We are celebrating our 125th anniversary here at JC Newman. So I'm going to smoke this tonight.
Very fitting.
Question for you guys. I know, many of us have been sheltered in place now for weeks. A lot of us have some unique experiences during this COVID-19 crisis. Mark, you want to just kind of share how it's affected you and your customers, some thoughts?
It's been challenging. A lot of my stores have had to close down. Thank God, in particular, Michigan has been able to open up curbside this week. All of my high-end markets with walk-in humidors were able to stay open, so they're doing extremely well. In Ohio, my high-end markets are open, and right now in Indiana, everything's curbside. So it's been a very interesting situation, both on my customers and on myself. To give you one example, just this past Saturday, we had a day where I allowed my daughter, 6 years old, to do whatever she wanted, and she decided to give Daddy a pedicure.
Nice.
So I'm walking around currently with metallic nail polish on my feet.
Beautiful.
Overshare.
David, any COVID-19 experiences you want to share?
Well, my retailers obviously have been dealing with that challenge, and a lot of my retailers have actually been very successful with the acclimating to the new current normal. They've been doing deliveries, curbside. In some states, they're still allowed to have one at a time, depending on which state we're in. But Colorado today just opened up for curbside, so that's a nice blessing. So, my Utah customers are doing pretty well. They've been able to, be very successful with their deliveries and curbsides.
Yeah, for me, I've been basically a traveling salesman for 25 years. And I have never been at home or in one place for 6 weeks in a row. I mean, it's completely unprecedented territory for me. And it takes a little bit of getting used to, but I've really, really enjoyed calling and talking with my customers, just, being real with them and talking with them and just sharing this experience together with them. Thank God everybody has been safe and trying to just do the right thing during this crisis. So, but it's really amazing to not be on an airplane or not in a rental car or in a hotel for 6 straight weeks.
to be with my family. It's been fantastic for the past month and a half, but I'm ready to hit the road again.
Cheers.
Yes, cheers to that. Cheers to getting back into our natural habitat, which is the cigar shop.
Absolutely.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about the Brick House at Your House promotion. So we launched that last week. It runs through May 15th. Mark, tell us a little bit about the promotion and how consumers can get involved.
Let me tell you something. It's a fantastic promotion. Go online, take a look at who's running the promotion. There's some fantastic giveaways. What you're going to be able to get is buy 5 Brick House cigars. You're going to get 2 5-year-old teasers and a J.C. Newman lighter, which is an incredible deal. I mean, I'm talking these cigars have been aged 5 years, not to mention how long the tobacco's been aged. It's a heck of a promotion. What you're going to do is you're going to go on Instagram or Facebook, and you're going to hashtag Brickhouse at my house. And you know what? You're going to have the opportunity to win fabulous prizes, including an incredible chair.
Yeah, the grand prize is one of our Brick House man cave chairs. So if you've ever seen that, it's this enormous overstuffed leather cigar chair. It's just very, very cool. David, I know that you're a huge on social media. You have been for years. And Brick House at my house is right up your alley.
Yes, I believe we sold out of that promotion, and I had a lot of retailers asking for it later. Unfortunately, we sold out of that promotion. That chair that Mark was talking about is the most amazing, most comfortable chair. We've had that chair for a few years now. We've been working with, and whoever wins that chair is going to be one very lucky person.
Not only is a fantastic chair, it's a dream seat. It actually looks like a beautiful stuffed chair that you'd have in a high-end movie theater. It's unbelievable. It's got a drink holder. It's comfortable. It is definitely worth the post. Brick House at my house.
Very cool. So as I mentioned earlier, and this is fabulous, by the way, absolutely worth the 15-year wait to smoke this. But we were talking a little earlier that this year is J.C. Newman's 125th anniversary. Back 25 years ago for the 100th anniversary, the Fuente family helped collaborate and create this incredible Diamond Crown cigar. So I'm wondering, David, do you want to talk about maybe your favorite in the whole Diamond Crown line? And if you have any particular story or anecdote you want to share about Diamond Crown cigars?
Yes, my absolute favorite Diamond Crown, and actually one of my absolute favorite cigars in the world, not just because it's Diamond Crown, but this is a Diamond Crown number 6 is my favorite. It is the most beautifully shaped cigar I've ever seen. It has curves. It's beautifully crafted. It is literally a work of art, a work of genius. And that cigar smokes so smooth and so rich. That Maduro wrapper, it's aged at least 5 years, maybe more. Oh, it's just so creamy and delicious.
You know what I tell if you don't mind me interjecting, what I tell my customers, it's so rich, it's almost like eating a piece of chocolate cake. It's got those characteristics. It's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, Mark, what about you? What's your favorite Diamond Crown cigar?
You know, I could still remember when I was with the company, we came out with Diamond Crown Maximus. And I believe we came out with Diamond Crown Maximus because Stanford loved the movie Gladiator. And I believe Diamond Crown Maximus came out shortly after. And let me tell you something, it definitely lives up to the name.
That's an amazing cigar.
Oh my gosh, it's got a beautiful, dark, oily, sun-grown wrapper, grown by the Oliva family, with beautiful tobacco filler binder from the Fuente family. I don't think there's a better cigar on this face of the earth.
You know, for me, when I think of Diamond Crown, the one memory I really have is I was a clerk working at a cigar store in Los Angeles, and Bobby Newman came in, Wally Beagle came in, our local salesman at the time. They were going to have this big party to introduce Diamond Crown at the Grand Havana Room in Beverly Hills. And, you know, I'm just a part-time clerk working at this cigar store and talking with them. And I was so excited about the product. I couldn't wait to try it. So they all leave. And whatever was said in the car, I don't know. But Bobby sent the salesman back in to give me an invitation, you know. So here's a young kid in his early 20s sneaking up to the Grand Havana Room to go to the Diamond Crown grand opening. And it was amazing. One of the most incredible cigar parties I've ever been to. And in fact, I still have Bobby Newman's signature on a box of Diamond Crowns and the invitation framed and above my desk here in my office. So that, whenever I think of Diamond Crown, that's immediately what I think about.
You know what
in
I
terms-
think is so fantastic about the Diamond Crown? It's got a true Connecticut wrapper that's actually fermented twice. And you know what? It's so smooth and flavorful. It's actually creamy. There's nothing quite like it on the marketplace.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the original Diamond Crowns. There's no doubt about that. The other one that I love is the Julius Caesar blend. In fact, I have one here that's kind of a very special Julius Caesar cigar. Let me take it out of the cellophane here so we can see it a little better. And this is one that is a Julius Caesar Shark that's made only for the Cigar Family Charitable Foundation every year as part of our Toast Across America. Now, Mark, I know you do a big charity fundraiser every year in Detroit. And I was wondering, maybe you could talk about that event a little bit and also tell us about the CFCF.
You know, every year, the second week or first week in June, we do Cars and Cigars with the Chilani Foundation. It helps feed people in Detroit, Hunger in the D, also, which is phenomenal. And a lot of the proceeds also go to Cigar Family Charitable Foundation. We're talking about 1,000 to 1,200 people. There's a beautiful cocktail hour. It's a sit-down dinner. It's a live auction. They've auctioned off the Bullet Mustang before. They've all auctioned off the Bullet motorcycle before. It's unbelievable and incredible. It's so much fun. It's so exciting. But the thing is, go to Hunger in the D, go to the Chilani Foundation, go to Cars and Cigars. Make sure you get your tickets early because it sells out every year. And you know what's amazing? Just when we were back down in the Dominican Republic this past January, just seeing the impact that it makes to the kids in the Dominican Republic, going from the kindergarten all the way up to the high school, and the opportunity it gives children that didn't have an opportunity, that grow up in a hut with dirt floors, that have to walk to get water, that don't have indoor plumbing. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, anybody that has actually been to the Cigar Family Charitable Foundation complex, their hearts are just touched and changed. There's just no question. It's amazing. And, it starts as small as just somebody buying 1-2-pack from the Toast Across America, all the way up to some of these enormous events that we do that raise hundreds of thousands of dollars. I know I see Angela Yu is in the chat room right now talking about the video. And Angela and Nathan Kalasho and his brother Tom do this incredible charity fundraiser every year at Lord Puffer here in Southern California. And we raise so much money. It's just an amazing, amazing event. David, I know you've done literally dozens, if not hundreds, of charity fundraisers over the years. What are some memories you want to share?
Oh, I have some good ones. There's one in that I used to do every year in Johnson City, Tennessee, little mountain town over there in the Tri-City and the Tri-State area there, at Libation Station. And every year we'd get together on usually the first Wednesday of every December and have this really extravagant event. Everybody would wear a tuxedo and bow ties and dress up for the event. Really good time. That Toast Across America, it gives a reason for people to come out and have a good time and for a good cause. And it's one of the only charities literally in the entire country that 100% of all the money raised goes to the charity. It doesn't go to some board of directors and salaries and things like that. The only salaries that it pays is teachers.
One of the best things is, you know what? The money actually goes directly to the children. All the administrative costs are covered by the Fuente and Newman family. In our retailers, they're selling the packs for $20 or $20 plus the OTP in that state. They're not making money. They're doing that out of the kindness of their heart. So if you walk in, if you see the price is $50 or $50 plus local OTP, you know what? That retailer's not making a cent. 100% of the proceeds are going to the kids. It's not going to a salary. It's not going to administration. Everything is going to the children.
Yeah, it's just an absolutely unique organization. And, we encourage everybody to go to cigarfamilycharitablefoundation.com, see the website, watch the videos. It's an amazing experience. So, one thing that occurred to me is that all of us have been with the company for a fairly long amount of time. And I believe all of us have had the opportunity and the honor of working with 3 different generations of the Newman and Fuente families, right? So let's talk. Mark, can you share a story maybe about one of your favorite highlights working either with the oldest or the youngest generation of the Fuente or Newman families?
Well, I could still remember when I didn't bring this up, but I also cover Canada for the JC Newman Cigar Company.
Hmm.
I can still remember when Eric and I did we did an event in Toronto. We stayed at a beautiful, incredible hotel. I'm not going to name the hotel, but we stayed in an incredible hotel. Eric checked into his room. I checked into my room. And usually what I do is all the table tents that are on the tables, I put them in a drawer. I clean up the room a little bit when I check in. I pulled open a drawer, and I found the biggest bag of marijuana I've ever seen before in my life. So I called up security and I told them about the bag of marijuana. They showed up and they said, "Where's the alleged bag of marijuana?" I showed it to them, and I told Eric. Eric goes, "Well, what are you doing in your free time?" I said, "I guess I'm calling security because I'm finding a big bag of weed in my room." And we laughed about it all night long. And after we got back to this really nice hotel, I saw the biggest fruit basket with the most gracious apology letter that I've ever seen. But
That's awesome.
and then I actually Eric references that from here on, and I said, "Yeah, you know what? I appreciate you giving me the Rockstar suite."
That's awesome. David?
Well, just recently, I was very blessed to accompany Eric Newman on a trip to Nicaragua back in January. And we went down there for I think it was called the Puro Sabor Nicaraguan Cigar Festival. And this is our 125th anniversary. And we threw a party on one of those nights that was so amazing. It was beautiful. If anybody's never been to one of these cigar festivals in Nicaragua, I highly suggest you attend it. It was a once in a lifetime experience. And Eric Newman and I, we obviously spent a lot of time together into the factory. And he introduced me to Fausto, which is one of our main guys down there in the factory. And I got to learn how to obviously roll cigars and learn more about tobacco, and really had a nice time with Eric Newman. And it's something I really appreciate, and it's a fond memory I'll have for the rest of my life.
Well, one of my favorite stories is when I first started, of course, Stanford Newman, who is Bobby and Eric's father. He's J.C. Newman's son. He is also one of the first people, one of only 5, along with Carlos Fuentes Sr., that was inducted into the Cigar Aficionado Hall of Fame. So, a very intimidating, legendary person in the cigar business. So Stanford Newman was there for my interview and part of that whole process. But on my first trip to the Dominican Republic, I end up on a bus sitting right next to Stanford, right? And so I don't know, what do you say to Stanford Newman? I mean, my God, what am I going to talk to this guy about? So it just occurred to me, we had just launched, I think it was either Diamond Crown or maybe the Maximus mark that we had just launched. So I said, Mr. Newman, are you blown away by the fact that cigars have become, so expensive? Now we have cigars that are $15. I think at that point, maybe our most expensive double Corona was $18, something like that, right? And I said, are you just blown away? And he said, oh, not really. Not really. He said, I stopped really caring about price increases in the early 1960s. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? He says, well, there was a time after World War II where cigars were either 15 cents a piece or 2 for 25 cents. And the price didn't change for like 7 years. So year after year after year, everyone that tried to sell cigars for 16 cents were out of business. If you tried to sell a cigar for, 2 for 30 cents or 2 for 35 cents or whatever the number was, your brand would drop by 50%. And so everybody every year had to tighten their belt. Every manufacturer had to try to find a way to stay alive without a price increase. And then one day he takes a trip to New York City, he's in Manhattan, and he goes to his first account, and the guy grabs him and says, Stanford, you're not going to believe this. I just got a cigar in, and it's 30 cents. Stanford, 30 cents, and people are buying them, He says, so after that, nothing shocks me anymore. Now that I saw a 30-cent cigar sell, the rest is gravy.
You know what? Something I'll never forget is when I was working for my previous company 19 years ago, and the Newmans said, "Hey, we want to bring you down to Tampa for an interview." I said, "Okay, yeah, that's great. Can we have you down on Tuesday?" I said, "Nope." "What about Thursday?" I said, "No." I said, "I respect the person I work for enough where I'm not going to take time off to interview for another job." And I said, "You know what? We can respect that." So I flew down on Friday night. My interview was on Saturday morning. And I can still remember Stanford, Bobby, and Eric showed up to my interview in tuxedos. I was wearing a suit. Yeah, I was wearing a suit. They were in tuxedos, and I said, "Oh, didn't realize how formal this is." And they said, "Yeah, we're interviewing you, and then going to a wedding."
Wow.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
David, do you have a story you want to share?
I'm just so enamored by the cigar I'm smoking right now.
Right.
The cigar is delicious. It's getting right down to my favorite spot.
Well, I'll give you a second. I'll give you a second to think about one.
No, I have one.
Oh, please go ahead. Yeah, please.
Well, I guess my favorite memory. See, my favorite memory of Stanford Newman was actually at my interview table, and we have a conference room where we do interviews. And when we do an interview, there's multiple people at this conference table, and they come in rotating chairs. And when Stanford came in, I was just so enamored. The fact that he took the time to even come in for an interview for me. And he told me a story, obviously the Julius Caesar story about how he got his name, how he picked his middle name, and about how every small town deserves nice cigars. And I took that to heart, and every small town does deserve nice cigars. And I made that part of my daily regimen to make sure that even the small towns weren't ignored when it comes to having nice cigars in their towns. So I made it a point. So
yeah, Stanford used to always say every town has a judge, has a lawyer, has a doctor. Every town, and everyone deserves to be able to treat themselves every once in a while and smoke a really great cigar. That's one of the nice democratic lower D things about the cigar industry, is that really anybody can afford to smoke the greatest cigar in the world. Maybe not every day, but every once in a while you can treat yourself and do that, which is impossible in the world of art or automobiles or all these other things. But, when it comes to cigars, you can absolutely smoke the greatest cigar in the world, at least every once in a while, which is so wonderful.
Absolutely. What we sell is affordable luxury.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? You can smoke your everyday cigar, whether it's a Quorum, whether it's a Brick House, Perla Del Mar, El Baton, Cuesta Rey, La Unica. But you know what? Every once in a while, treat yourself to a Diamond Crown. It's definitely
Exactly.
affordable luxury.
Exactly. So, we were just telling some stories about the Newmans, and I got to tell you a quick story about the Fuentes that, I always get so much perspective from learning from these people that have so much wisdom. And, the Newman family in particular are just incredibly charitable and generous. Stanford's story about price increases basically just gives you perspective, right? That everything is relative, everything goes up, all that kind of stuff. But I remember one time I was in Las Vegas with Carlos Sr. and Carlos Jr., Carlito, and the three of us get in an elevator. It was for a cigar event, obviously. And somebody else gets on the elevator with us and looks around and sees Carlos Sr. and Carlos Jr., but he can't quite put it together. And he says, I know you guys. I know you guys are famous. Who are you? And Carlos Sr. looks at him and says, my name's Carlos Fuente, and I grow tobacco, and my son makes cigars. And here they use the greatest cigar makers in the world, right? They're in the Cigar Aficionado Hall of Fame. And the humility to just shake hands and say hello and greet a fellow cigar smoker. It's really amazing. And I'll never forget that. I always try to remember that, that if that's how Carlos Sr. could be, we can all learn from that.
One of the most fantastic things about not only the Newman family, but the Fuente family is how down to earth they are.
Mm-hmm.
I can still remember when Carlos Sr. got his brand new F-150, and he was so excited. He showed up at our sales meeting, and he goes, I got to show you. I got the best vehicle ever. It's awesome. You got to come down and see it. And I'm thinking, wow, we got a new Rolls Royce. He might have got a Bentley, might have got a Maserati. But no, Carlos Sr. wanted to show us his brand new F-150.
Yeah. No, it's just unique people, absolutely special and unique people. Amazing. So we work for a cigar company. It would not be right of us if we didn't talk a little bit about cigars, right? Cigars are a lot like music or artwork. Okay, at some point it is about personal preferences, about what you like. David, what are a couple of your favorite cigars? Or maybe a shape or a size that you particularly like, and do you have like a famous pairing? Like, is there,
I'm
a
just really
cocktail or a
big on
drink?
Cameron wrapper.
Mm-hmm. Oh, looks like we might have lost you, Dave. We'll come
Well,
back to you in
David's
a second.
taking a break, so I'll let you know what I like. You know what? I love a nice glass of red wine, a big cab, and I like the Maximus. And I said this before, or even the Diamond Crown Classic. Diamond Crown Classic actually pairs extremely well with either bourbon or Scotch. The nuances of the Diamond Crown Connecticut absolutely complement those two elixirs.
Right. I mean, in the real world, I smoke 99% of my cigars with a black iced coffee driving in my car in the countless thousands and thousands of miles and hours that I spend driving in the car going to see customers. But when I'm at home, when I get that moment to share something like that, I'm just a great single malt, something that I can take my time with. And like David said, Cameroon, man, so special. Absolutely love our Don Carlos and our Hemingway lines. I love the Diamond Crown Classic and the Julius Caesar. And for our newer cigars, I'm a huge fan of the Brickhouse Double Connecticut. I think it's so amazing that we have taken that cigar, the Brickhouse, which has a flavor profile and a taste that everybody loves, is quite popular. And just by adding that Connecticut broadleaf binder and that Connecticut wrapper, the Double Connecticut in the Brickhouse is like an incredible blend. Very
And
complex.
what's
I love that
amazing?
cigar.
I know that we sell a lot of the 6x60, the Mighty Mighty, the Robusto,
Mhm.
and we sell a lot of the Toros as well. But I truly think the best Brickhouse double Connecticut's that we sell are the Corona Larga and the Churchill. Those
Yeah.
are phenomenal because it's a great you're tasting a lot of the wrapper in those sizes, and it's
Yeah.
phenomenal. It's a perfect ratio.
David, are you back with us?
I am back, guys. I'm back.
Great. Tell us about
So,
your favorite cigars.
I'm torn between two wrappers more than I am cigars. It's Cameroon and Connecticut, and pretty much my mood changes from hour to hour. Can you hear me still? We're good?
Yep, we got you back now, David. You were saying your mood changes hour to hour.
Yeah, mood changes from hour to hour, but Cameroon, I would say just a little bit more than normal. And ironically, our our Stanford Newman is the one who actually, brought Cameroon into our industry, brought that leaf into the cigar industry.
Yeah, tell that story, David.
Yeah, Cameroon's probably my favorite. Connecticut would be number two, very close.
Yeah, for people that don't know, can you kind of tell the story about how Stanford came to really be the grandfather of Cameroon wrappers in the American cigar business? So we might have lost David. So
no, I'm back.
No,
Great.
how Stanford was using a lot of Cuban wrapper, and once Cuban wrapper dried up, he actually started buying Cameroon to put on premium cigars, and he was innovative. He was nobody else was using Cameroon, African Cameroon. I'm talking about true African Cameroon. Both the Fuente and Newman family use true African Cameroon. Other companies use Cameroon seed grown in Ecuador, but you know what? It doesn't have the nutrients and minerals in the soil that Africa has. So if you want a true Cameroon, it's got to be African Cameroon. And when Stanford bought African Cameroon at the auctions in France and put it on his cigars, it was unlike anything else the world has ever seen.
Yeah, it's interesting, Mark. In other industries, like in the wine business, for example, they have protected names. So you cannot call your product champagne if it is not made in the Champagne region of France. You cannot call it cognac if it isn't made in Cognac, France. Can't call it Scotch if it's not made in Scotland. But you hear terms like Cameroon or Connecticut thrown around a lot. Those seeds are grown in lots of different countries to more or less success. But real USA Connecticut, like on the Roman Crown, Arturo Fuente only uses it on their own cigars. Real African-grown Cameroon, grown by the Marifel family. There's just no substitute for the authentic original ingredients. And you can taste the difference.
Not only true Connecticut and true African Cameroon, but true Connecticut broadleaf as well. You could absolutely taste the richness, the sweetness from our broadleaf wrappers. It's unbelievable.
No doubt about that. Yeah.
And then,
I would say Maduro is one of our constantly most oversold products. We just can never make enough Fuente Maduros to keep up with the demand.
Absolutely. And you know what? I know you guys don't know this, but I do have a. Hey guys, how do you like the cigars?
Awesome. Julius Caesar.
I do have a studio audience behind me of about 10 people smoking cigars,
That's awesome.
and
That's
we are
great.
we are doing social distancing of at least 8 feet apart.
Nice. So, you know, I see here in the notes that Tom asked about getting a brick house with a Cameroon wrapper. You know, there's a lot of those type of combinations that are possible in the cigar business. But for one reason or another, sometimes they just don't always see the light of day. You know, so we're always experimenting. We never say never about tobaccos that we won't use and whatnot, but we're never going to compromise the products we make today. So we kind of leave the door open for innovation and for new things in the future, but we try to stick to the recipes and the tradition, and we try not to compromise the products that we're making today. But that's a great question, Tom. That's a great one. So I got a question for you guys. David, let me start with you. When we get back on the road, what is the thing that you're most looking forward to when you can get on that airplane or, you know, get in a rental car?
I am looking forward so much to just getting back in those cigar lounges and maybe even getting a game of chess in. I haven't played one game of chess with any cigar customers all year. So
Right.
I'm looking forward to smoking a cigar and playing a game of chess, hopefully with one of my retailers or consumers out there, and just getting back into my natural habitat. I miss being
Right.
in a cigar shop.
Right. Mark?
You know what? I can tell you right now, I'm looking forward to that first cigar of the day at 7:30 in the morning in my car.
Yeah.
Right now, for the past almost 2 months, my car's been in my garage with the windows down. You can't even tell I sell cigars anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Let me tell you something. That first cigar of the day is my favorite cigar.
Yeah.
Sometimes I smoke mild, sometimes I smoke full, but you know what? It's always my best cigar of the day.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think, you know, for me, it's definitely about the mornings, you know, getting in the car, having a cigar, having that black coffee. But the biggest thing for me, I think, is I loved that 80s TV show Cheers, right? Where the guys walk into the bar and everybody knows them, everybody yells Norm, you know. And for some of my customers, I've been seeing them now every few weeks for 15 years, 20 years. One of my customers here locally, the Tinderbox in South Coast Plaza, is where I bought cigars when I was in college. And so I get a chance to call on Manjit Bain, who is the same tobacconist that I bought cigars when I went to college in the early 90s. And so I just really miss seeing my people. And I can't wait to get back there and be with them. So one question we are getting from several people, and I don't want to ignore them. Mark, you want to talk a little bit about your love for El Baton, which is one of our great blends that doesn't get as much attention as it deserves.
It's a fantastic cigar. And you know what, Jake? I love El Baton. It's got a lot of full flavor. It's got a lot of nuances. And you know what? It's an award winning cigar. I believe out of our Nicaraguan factory, it was the first one to get a high rating from Cigar Aficionado.
Yeah, no, I think it's the first 90 plus cigar that we got in Cigar Aficionado from our Nicaraguan factory, which, by the way, is now the second largest volume cigar factory in all of Nicaragua. It's just incredible what the Newman family have built there. It's just amazing. And that's just another side to our family.
The thing is, we talk a lot about El Baton, we talk about Perla Del Mar, and we talk a lot about Brickhouse. But you know what? A phenomenal cigar, an economy cigar that comes out of that factory is Quorum. Available in 3 different wrappers. And let me tell you something, you cannot beat that cigar for the price.
Yeah. Yeah, Quorum is absolutely amazing. It's phenomenal. And it's got to be one of the most repeated, repurchased cigars in the entire cigar industry. We just have a loyal and faithful group of people that buy that cigar every week. They
Well,
love it.
one of the fantastic things about the Maduro is there another economy cigar out there that actually uses Connecticut broadleaf in their Maduro? There's
Exactly.
not one. There's not one out there. I can tell you right
Yeah,
now, it is a heck of a value.
exactly. Exactly. So, David, any thoughts, anything we didn't talk about that you're kind of itching to share?
You know what doesn't get a lot of love is that Cuesta-Rey Centrofino.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that cigar, and no one talks about it. I mean, obviously back in the boom time, during the cigar boom in the '90s and the early 2000s, Cuesta-Rey was very hot. But let me tell you, that cigar hasn't changed. That cigar is made by Arturo Fuente, and it is one of my favorite cigars in the entire world. That Centro Fino.
You know what? I'll go as far as saying the Wally Beagle cigar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the Wally Beagle cigar.
I mean,
Cheers,
how
Wally
many
Beagle.
years? How many years was Mr. Beagle with the company? And you know what?
Cheers.
Mr. Beagle had the opportunity to smoke any cigar, anytime. And what's the one cigar that he wanted to smoke all the time? 60.
Ray Centrofinos.
Absolutely. That was his
In fact,
cigar.
I got a great story I can
just
share about
retired.
that. I can share a story about that. So, we were talking about the Newmans and the Fuentes. So all three of us used to have our vice president of sales was Wally Beagle, and he was with the company for decades, right? So he comes to work with me one time, and he gets off the airplane and has this enormous bag full of Cuesta Pyramid Number 9 cigars, right? These incredibly beautiful Fuente-made pyramids in the sun-grown wrapper, and he's had this enormous bag. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, this is going to be fantastic. He's going to go home, and I'm going to end up with 20, 30 cigars. So we start the week, and yeah, would you like a cigar? And he opens the bag, hands me a cigar, and we're smoking and driving and smoking and driving. And Tuesday, Wednesday, now the bag's starting to get a little lower. Thursday, the bag's a little lower. We get to Friday, and I'm taking him to the airport, and I look in the back seat, and there's 2 cigars left in the bag, right? And I'm thinking, well, at least I'll get 2 cigars at least. He opens the bag, takes the 2 cigars out, and he says, well, just in case the flight's delayed, but you can have the bag. And he leaves the empty bag in the car and makes the flight.
You know what? One of the last times I ever worked with Wally Beagle, just he and I, we were traveling. It was in December in northern Michigan, and the only hotel we could find was at a casino. You guys are gonna like this.
I'm listening.
I'm telling my studio audience. So we're staying at this big hotel casino, and the fire alarm goes off. I get on the phone. I call the front desk, and they go, "Oh no, it's a false alarm." But the fire alarm is actually saying, "Please vacate the building. Please vacate
Right.
the building." It's 10 degrees outside. It's saying, "Please vacate the building." Wally doesn't know this. Wally goes to the nearest exit with a group of people, and they're outside in their pajamas, and it's 10 degrees outside. So the next morning I go, "Oh, yeah. Did you hear that?" He goes, "Hell yeah, where were you? I was outside. I vacated the building." I said, "I called the front desk, and they said it was a false alarm." And he goes, "Don't you think you could have told me that?"
Well, guys, we're kind of coming up to the end here. We're getting pushed on time. David, any last thoughts?
Speaking of Wally Beagle, I think we're all very blessed to work with him. He just retired back in December. And cheers to you, Wally Beagle, if you're out there watching. It was a pleasure working with you, and I hope you enjoy your retirement.
Absolutely. Mark, any last thoughts?
Hey guys, I just want to say one thing, and it's from the heart. During this whole pandemic, you know what? Both the Newman family and the Fuente family has been absolutely fantastic to their employees. They've been calling us and asking us not only what do we want, but what do our families need? And let me tell you something, it's definitely heartfelt. And let me tell you something, I will love the Fuentes and the Newman family my entire life.
Yeah, Mark, that's very well said, and I absolutely couldn't agree more. We're just so fortunate to work for these wonderful 2 family-owned companies. It's just a remarkable achievement, 125 years for the J.C. Newman company this year. The Fuente company is well over 100 years themselves, founded in 1912. So just incredible company. So thank you for joining us. We had a great time tonight. Please, Mark, go ahead.
The fantastic thing is when you say family, it's not just a word that's thrown around loosely. Everyone that works for them is a family. We are family. It's unbelievable. They care about us. And you know what? For that, I'll be forever grateful.
Exactly. So guys, cheers to your health. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you.
Cheers, gentlemen. Cheers, everybody.
Salud.